Welcome you back to the Patrick Netherton Show on 1130 The Tiger. Our Louisiana Division I football previews continue as we head down to Thibodaux to hear from Tim Rebowe, the head man of the Nicholls Colonels. Coach, how the heck are you, sir?
Hey, doing well, Patrick. How's everything, man? I want to thank you for having me on.
Oh, always. Love, you're one of our favorites. You know that. We always love chatting with you. I know, again, I keep talking about this, Coach. We had Frank Selfo on the other day, and, you know, I want to hate all of y'all. Right? You're Northwestern State and rivals and South and all that. And I want to be mad, but y'all are all good people. And it almost makes me mad that y'all aren't that hateable, Coach. I don't know. I guess that's a compliment. I'm not sure how you should take it.
No, and listen, we had the conference meetings, we had it 2 weeks ago in Lake Charles. And I said that, I looked around the room and I said, man, what a good group of guys. We all got along, and you know how we feel about Brad, and all the new guys that were in the room. We all have ties together, and you go, hey, look, we just want to beat each other one night out the year, But we all like each other and get along.
Hey, do you watch Hard Knocks by any chance? The HBO show.
I do not, and some of my friends and coaches have been talking about it, but I'm really not. I don't have a lot of time to watch.
Well, sure.
TV.
I mean, I know you don't have a ton of free time to hang like I do to hang around and watch TV. But it was actually interesting, Coach. Last night, Deuce Staley, who's a former Philadelphia Eagles running back, and Aaron Glenn, who's Deuce Staley's the running backs coach for the Lions. Aaron Glenn's the defensive coordinator for the Lions, and they're best of friends. They talk about how much they love each other. They're best of friends. But when practice starts, these guys are trash talking each other. They're getting after each other. I mean, Deuce Staley said, "Look, I love this man, but I want to kick his ass when we're between the lines." and I've got to imagine there's some of that for you, right?
That's right, and that's why you're in this business. Those competitive juices start flowing, and it's funny. And I'll talk about Brad. We could sit at before the game, you meet at the 50-yard line, and we're talking about how is things, and literally, how's the family, and how's everybody, and how's this one, and all of a sudden, okay, man, good luck, and you go across on the sideline, and you yelling and screaming at him and just wanting to run him into the ground.
Yeah.
Yes, you're exactly right.
It is amazing. And the amount of compartmentalization that's necessary in your business, I would imagine, also has to be pretty high. Like you can't, or do you? I mean, you can't let that sort of emotion between the lines follow you outside the lines, right?
I would agree with that. And I think I've been my whole career like that. We always joke around and like in a locker room and coaches, and you say, hey, man, whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, right? And so whatever happens on the field against each other really needs to stay on the field, and we don't let that carry over. Like you talked about, in the state and guys calling on each other. Mm-hmm. I would say me, Frank, we talk to each other. Brad, hey, how does this affect y'all? What are y'all doing this summer? We're all the time talking and trying to help each other out. Listen, it's a tough enough business as it is, right? So, man, you got to have some people and some friends, even though you're rivals on that Saturday night.
Well, I will say this. I don't know of many people that have done a more remarkable job at a place than you have at Nicholls. You come in, I mean, Nicholls was, they had kind of always foundered. It was, at one point they were running the triple option, and then they were moving, and nothing ever seemed to work. Nothing ever seemed to fit. It would be a decent year here or there. Since you've gotten there, there is a level of consistency and consistent winning that was not there before. Tell me about coaching now, as you've sort of built the machine and the machine is starting to run for you, as opposed to when you got there and had all these parts laying around and had to figure out how to make the machine work to start with?
Well, I'll say this. I'm just very fortunate I'm in a good place, and you have some good people around you. I think that's where it all starts. And this is not just Tim Rebowe. We came here, Patrick, we had a vision. We had a plan. The things that you've learned, all the stops along the way, the coordinators that you bring with you, you sit down and you put your philosophy out there and what you want to do. But there's still some doubt You know, will it work? Will the guys buy in? Can you get it done here? And boy, I'll tell you, that first year we lost our first 5 games, and we were going, man, I know we close, we could do it. And all of a sudden, the guys just started buying in, and then you get you some good players, and then they make you be some good coaches. But it really does take a lot of people to make this thing work. We have challenges every day, and sometimes it's kind of crazy the things that we look at that we still have to face and fight, but that's where we do it. And I think another thing, and I've said this to you before, is I think we understand who we are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I understand where we are, and I know we don't have that 60,000 seat stadium and 4 different helmets we can put on and all those things, you know. And we try to get those people that fit in and want to do the things that we want to do. Now, it is, yes, we've had a little success. Obviously not, we'd like a lot more success. You know, you want to win that conference championship and the playoffs and all that good stuff. But it keeps getting harder and harder to sustain every year because, you know, it's about expectations,
mm-hmm.
right? When we first came in, nobody expected anything. So it's like, hey, man, what do we have to lose, you know? Well, now when you start expectations and putting a little pressure on yourself and, hey, man, it just builds and builds. So it is definitely harder, I think, today and last year, along with all the outside factors we face. You know, even if you throw those out, it's much harder right now than it was a couple of years ago.
Yeah, the target on your back is always a big deal. Talking to Tim Rebowe, head coach of the Nicholls Colonels. All right, so I've asked all the coaches about transfer portal, and I always clarify it's not the portal that's the issue, it's the 1-year free transfer without sitting. That was always the case in the FCS. You could always come down from the FBS level and be eligible immediately. But what has this free transfer rule done in terms of what you're doing, your staff, and how you put your team together? Are you noticing guys leaving? Are you noticing that, hey, I've got the potential to go get guys? What are you seeing from the portal that is either working or a struggle for you guys?
I think when you talk to a lot of coaches about it being the wild, wild west and just that open free agency, I don't know how good that's going to be for college football. I don't like it. And it's going to – I'm from the old school,
mm-hmm.
Patrick. It wasn't broke before. Okay, why do we need to try to fix this thing when it really wasn't broke? If a guy goes to LSU or if he goes to Alabama, or we've gotten him from Florida when I've been here, from Tennessee, it's a natural. If you don't play at that level, you look to step down to play. And guys have had good careers, and you can put them on scholarship and let them play, and nothing was wrong with that. I think it hurts us. I think it hurts the FCS. Whatever you say, it's almost becoming like some junior colleges, because now the big boys can come and just get guys off your roster if they want to. And I don't really like that. I don't think it's fair. How we're approaching it, listen, we're going to have some guys who have left us. But in the big picture, and I always talk in round numbers, you know, if we had 100 guys on the roster and 2 of them wanted to leave, I got to worry about the 98 guys that's here,
mm-hmm.
the ones that want to be here. Now, I'm not going to cut my nose off to spite my face, correct? I don't want to lose anybody, and I for sure don't want to lose good players. But I want guys that want to be here, and that's the ones that we got to spend all of our time and energy on. And I think that's there's a lot of guys that got in the transfer portal, but it's such a small percentage of the people who are staying and playing where they are and
mm-hmm.
honoring that commitment. And look, a lot of players are getting into the transfer portal and are not ending up anywhere else. I don't know how that the NCAA could think that this is really good for college athletics and good for guys that some of them are on a full scholarship, getting in the portal and getting nothing on the other side.
Yeah, I think Frank. I think Frank said it was his stat. I think it was 54% of the people that enter the portal don't find anywhere to go.
Right.
And that's unfortunate. That's not good. Quite frankly, it isn't good. I'm interested though, Coach. You know, they've tabled the whole idea of not just 1 year free transfer, but unlimited free transfers. I've got to imagine you're dead set against that idea when it truly does then become free agency in college athletics.
Yeah, what are we teaching? What are we teaching our guys today? If you coach them a little hard, if they're not starting in that first game, are they going to be looking to run and go? We all grew up and hard work and persevere and stay in there, and your time's going to come, and that's getting tougher and tougher, man. It's harder to do.
You do have one thing that has worked for you, and that is you've had some stability within the program. You've had long-term quarterbacks. You've had your coordinators have been with you for a while. I've got to imagine when it comes to building a roster, but more importantly, building a team, having some of that stability matters.
I think we need to use anything that we can, and we do use that our guys want to be here. They want to stay here. It's something to be said that, you have the same terminology, you're speaking the same language year in and year out from the coordinators and from the assistants that have been here. And hopefully that can continue. I joke around. I tell them that I think I'm paying them too much money, that they don't really want to leave and go anywhere else. So that's why they stay in here with me. But they've been good. It's good to have those guys with us, and hopefully we continue to keep them here.
Offensively, your offense is a little bit of a throwback in some regards, in that it is a run-oriented attack. In today's day and age of spread them out and everybody throws and quarterbacks are throwing for 310, 315 per ball game, you're a team that's not not averse to lining up and going at someone. Now, a lot of that has been with the quarterback position as a runner, which is a little bit different than sort of traditional, hey, let's line up in the eye and hand it off. But what is it about that kind of old school mentality of, we're running for 250 a game and we're going to stop the run on the other side? How has that been the thing that has worked for y'all?
I think there's several factors when you look at that. We've been pretty good up front. I think we've had some guys who had been in the program, from the P.J. Burkhalters, Ryan Hanley, who was like a 4-year starter for us, Chandler Arsenault, when you go back, some guys who had been in the program, Jair Joseph. It started up front, and we felt like if we had to run the football, we could do it. Now, we don't go into the season, saying, hey, we're going to run this percentage of time. It truly is take what they're going to give us. Chase 4K, that quarterback, was a little bit. He didn't run it that much, but he had the threat that he could do it. We did run it a little bit more. Lindsey last year, Lindsey Scott ran it a bunch for us. And then also you look at the running backs we've had along the way. We've had some good ones and we've had some tough ones. And everybody talks about good coaching last year. Julian Gums goes down and we lose a couple other guys, and here comes Colin Guggenheim, who was kind of way down on the depth chart, and he ended up being all conference and almost rushing for 1,000 yards in half the year. So it's a little bit of a mindset, and we don't go in saying, I want to run it 60% of the time, or that. That's not how we design.
Also doesn't hurt when you've got a guy like Dijon Dixon on the outside either.
Yeah, because now all of a sudden, if you start, you can run the ball a little bit, then they've got to commit and put some more guys in the box. And when they start doing that, then obviously you're going to leave Dixon one-on-one. And anytime we had the one-on-one matchup with him, it was really kind of unfair. And, I mean, that's why the guy is, still playing right now. Yeah. And hopefully he'll be playing on Sundays. So when you have some guys out wide you can get the ball to, they can't commit to one thing.
By the way, for folks that want to know what offensive balance looks like, Nicholls last year averaged 246 rushing and 246 passing. Pretty sure it doesn't get more balanced than that. Coach, let's talk about then. By the way, you were 3 yards from being perfect, having a perfectly balanced season. Which is insane, to be honest with you. All right, obviously quarterback is the position that everyone cares about. You mentioned Lindsey Scott. He has departed. Tell me about what you're looking at the position.
Well, Cohen Grenier, who has been in the program for 6 years now, he had been injured early on in his career. He was behind Chase Forcade, who was a 4-year starter for us. But Cohen has always been there. He's stuck in. He's hung in there. He's finally healthy. We went with him at the end of the year last year, and he led us to some victories. Lindsey, we didn't know if he was going to be eligible or not, and then he finally got eligible, and he decided to move on. And so I do feel good about the squad. I got a young man, Leonard Kelly, who's having had a good spring and a good camp. He's been a redshirt freshman last year, so I feel good about our quarterback position right now. I really do.
Defensively, as I mentioned, you guys have always been really good up front. Guys on that front line, front seven that are absolute ballers. Tell me about what we're looking at from that defensive side of the ball this year.
I think the same thing. You know, when I look at our team, we had some guys last year, probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 6 guys returning on that defensive front. But we still made it a point. We went out and we got some young defensive linemen, and I'm really excited about them because I think they're going to have a chance to contribute for us early on too. So, you know, when you look at the offensive line, you usually probably play 5 or 6 guys. You know, you don't rotate those guys as much. But when you got that defensive line, you got to be able to keep those guys fresh, and you want to be able to rotate them without losing too much, you know, and I think that's where we've been. And I think Coach Rebowe does a great job on the defensive side of the ball. I want to say we keep it simple, but yet we get after you a little bit, and I think we're going to be able to continue to do that this year.
I will say your early season schedule is as daunting as I've seen, not necessarily because of the teams you're playing. It's not like you're going and playing an LSU or an Alabama or anything like that, but you got 5 of your first 6 away from Thibodeau. Obviously, you can't control the conference schedule, which starts with 2 straight road games in Natchitoches and then at HBU. But tell me about that non-conference schedule at South Al, at ULM, at SEMO before you get a very good Jacksonville State team coming into Thibodeau. That's a big get to have them come to you. But that first 3 away and 5 of the first 6 away, that's rough.
Well, tell me, does every coach want to do that? They don't want to play their last, 5 of their last 6 at home. I mean, that's why we set it up that way. Listen, we want to be playing home in October and November, so that's why we did that. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah.
It's just the way it's set up. You know, we always got to play a couple of FBS schools early on. You know, you don't always have to play them back to back to start the season. That's just how it felt. And we had the alliance with the conference, with the Ohio Valley Conference, and we just so happened we got Southeast Missouri. That's who we drew, and I guess they drew straws, and we had to go to them this year. So that's why we lost that home game. And then you're right, again, the conference, the first 2 on the road. So, but listen, we got to play them 1 week at a time, and that's what I talked to our guys about. You can't play the third one before you play the first one. And then I am looking forward to being excited at the end of the year. Hopefully you're in the hunt and you can have some home games where they, going to have a little bit of meaning at the end of the year.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And by the way, Coach, I appreciate you dropping one of the great cliches on us, the 1 game at a time. That's one of my favorites. I do appreciate that.
Go ahead, check that one off. For the
that's on the big board. That's on the big board. Hey, we've got Terry Bowden coming on at 4:40. Anything you want me to pass along to him? Maybe some trash talk for that week 2 game?
No, man. You just say, hey, remember Coach Rebowe used to coach at Monroe, man. Go easy on him a little bit this year.
That's right. That's what we're always about. Hey, Coach, it's always a pleasure to talk to you and get the preview for Nicholls. Obviously, look forward to seeing you guys on October 1st up in Natchitoches. Have a good, safe, hopefully injury-free preseason camp. We look forward to that season going.
Patrick, always my pleasure, my man. If you need anything, we're here.
All right. Tim Rebowe, head coach of the Nicholls Colonels.